All right, have and have not fans. I just finished last night's episode on The Edge. Yeah, I know I've been inactive on Twitter during the live episode, but for the past several days, my sleeping pattern has been, hey, my body's telling me to go to sleep around 7:30 or 8 p.m., and then I'll wake up around 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't know why that is, but hey, well, it is what it is. The episode itself, I liked it. Good setup. I feel like setup was the name of the game in this episode. I think there were some good and funny moments. I think my favorite joke of the episode was the fact that David made a crack at Jeffrey's haircut. Like, well, the good job you did on cutting your own hair, but next time we'll take it to a barber shop. So I'm glad that they referenced Jeffrey's ever-changing hair in the episode. I think that was pretty funny. So that automatically got a big laugh out of me and made the Jeffrey scenes more tolerable. But let's just start at the beginning of the episode. I don't even know what to score the episode yet, so instead of just giving you a score, I'll probably wait until the end of this video after I've talked it out loud, and then I'll maybe get a score. But all right, so we're starting at the bank. The money's no longer in the system, and it's kind of weird because Benny is being unreasonably calm, and then Hannah's acting frantic for good reason because she's making a notion that, look, Jim Cryer and the Malones will be after you if we don't have that money, in terms of, us giving the money back to Jim and, giving the $20,000 to the Malones. I was on Benny's side in this moment because it's like, yeah, because there's no need of freaking out because there's the woman says she's going to figure out where the money is, so, or at least where it went. So, we should just be calm. And the other thing about Benny is the fact that he's not being super naive about, like, Candace didn't do it because she's no. He actually gave valid points where he was thinking, well, I was just on the phone with her, and if I asked her for money, and if she had it, she would have given it to me. Which is a very good point. But then you got to use the argument of, remember when he found the $45,000 with Malik's blood on it, and then was like, this is my money, but then Candace lied right to his face? Yeah, so I'm kind of iffy on that. But either way, I love the fact that Benny was actually calm in this moment. And what I'll do is I'll talk about all the Hannah and Benny scenes in one because they're all related to each other. So, yeah, Hannah's automatically suspicious. Like, whoa, what are you so calm for? And after working 3 years in the call center, working with students who, in some cases have big balances on their account, or, oh my God, I got like a $8,000 balance. How am I going to come back to Liberty? That kind of stuff. You got to situations because really there's nothing you can do, like lashing out at the person on the other side of the phone, or in this case, the other side of the desk isn't going to do anything. But I will admit it is a good thing. It is a reasonable situation because this is $8 million. This isn't a couple thousand, a couple hundred. These are millions of dollars that didn't belong to the Youngs, and people are coming after them for it. So yeah, I would be a little bit high strung, but at the same time it's like, okay, let me just take comfort in knowing that the bank is going to look into this, so we should be good. All right, so Benny also makes another good point. You two just made peace and now you want to call her up accusing her or something, and I'm like, oh my God, Benny was on. Why haven't we had this level-headed Benny in a while? This is the first time I've seen him level-headed in a while. But as the episode goes on, I'm beginning to sound like Hannah because he's getting a bit too calm. It's like he knows something that we don't. So then the woman comes back, pretty much says there was a reverse transfer. Let me look at the notes here. Yeah, the money was wired out with a reverse notice to the Cryer company, but this happened a few days ago, and Benny says it doesn't make sense. And in terms of banking, I guess the easiest way to say it is when it comes to pending transactions, where let's say, for example, if I have $20 on my bank card, I go to Burger King and spend $6. And then I go to my bank account online and it says pending $6 because I spent at Burger King. Okay. But then, I'm assuming the money's already taken out. So for whatever reason, I decide to spend $17 at Walmart the next day. and then I get an overdraft because the pending charges will come in, like the $6 from Burger King or $5 from Burger King didn't come out of my account automatically. It was a pending transaction because it took a couple of days. I'm trying to make sense of this, but I don't really know how this would work. I mean, to be honest, I don't think we've ever seen Benny or Hannah look at their bank account physically for a while. The last time I remember them doing that is when they were sitting at the same desk with the same bank clerk trying to get the money over the first time, but Benny wouldn't sign the papers. And that was what, like 2 or 3 days ago in terms of the haves and the have not timeline. So I'll admit, well, I think that's a big negligent on the bank because at least I got my bank account set up where if ever there is a $0 or negative balance or suspicious activity, I automatically get either a text message, an email, sometimes a phone call. So for Hannah and Benny not to get any kind of notification on that, I think that is very negligent on the bank's part. Because once again, we're talking not just the fact that millions are taken, but there's a huge negative balance. So who's going to take care of the balance? That's another question. I was actually a bit concerned that that didn't even come up in the episode. It's like, okay, well, the Crier Company? Okay, well, they got their money back. That's good. That's good. But Hannah, you got a negative $4,000 balance. What the heck? So later on, I mean, at the bank, she calls Catherine just to let them know what's going on. It's like, hey, we're sitting here at the bank. They said the money was wired out a few days ago. And on top of that, it went back to the Crier Company. But then Catherine's like, well, Jim said he didn't have the money. Let me talk to him. Jim goes upstairs. Why it's high? I mean, there's really nothing to say about that. Why it's high? They don't know where he got the drugs from because we quickly go back to the money. Catherine explains the situation to Jim like Hannah did, but Jim isn't buying it because the Crier Company, he knows the Crier Company is Candace's account. How does he know? Go back to last season when Jim, I believe he was at David's house that night saying that he would kill Candace because he found out from Lloyd that, Candace Young took all the money because Veronica set up the account. So basically that's how Jim knows. So Jim doesn't tell Catherine that Candace is the one that owns the Crier Company. So once again, that was one of the running themes of this series. If someone tells another character the full story instead of just bits and pieces, that would save a lot of problem because of the fact that Jim didn't think, well, Candace is at the White House. So yeah, that's definitely above the Hannah Benny pay grade of schemes. So they have nothing to do with it. So no. You're going to go over to Hannah and Benny, who literally have no authority over this, because if not for the $20,000, like let's say if they got their hands on the $20,000 and there was no negative bank account fee, I mean, no overdraft. If I were Hannah and Benny, it's like, look, we paid Mitch's family, we're good to go. But Jim Crier, leave us alone. The money is gone. It's kind of like, once again, when it comes to my experience in the call center at Liberty, let's say a student has like a $3,000 refund from their financial aid. Once Liberty sends the money from the student accounts office to, whatever the hell they call a Hire One, that's like the student bank where you can either get your Hire One card and get your refund sent on that debit card, or you can set it up to have a wired transfer, direct deposit into your own bank account. So when students call in about, where's my refund? Well, sir, it said it was sent over to Hire One. So at this point, the money is out of Liberty's hands. You just got to contact that other bank or just wait on the money to hit your account, which is kind of very, very interesting because the agent said, there was a middle bank, basically the bank that the money originally came from. There was a reverse transaction. So there's that. All right. So later on in the episode, Hannah and Benny get to their house. It's funny how Derek isn't in any of the episodes, but he's being referenced either by knocking on the door, said he was on the phone, but Hannah wouldn't answer. But in this case, there's a bouquet of flowers. And then, Benny is suspicious because Hannah won't tell anything about the flowers. Oh, excuse me. Anything about what Derek did. It's like, oh, there's a perfectly good flowers. You're going to throw them on the ground. I can use those, put them on the snack. Wait, what are you talking about, a snack? Well, my ladies. Well, Benny, let's see. You and Veronica are on the rocks for good. I doubt you two will ever get together again. And, the other girl you're messing around with, Melissa, she literally jumped to her death from the roof. So what girl are you talking about? Not to mention, you and your mother have a negative $4,000 bank fee. You're being chased by the mob. You don't have a job. And you still live with your mother. So how in the world do you expect to get a woman? I don't know. But then again, hey, it still happens for him. Whatever. All right. So after that, they get into the house. Hannah goes upstairs. Well, actually calls Catherine again, right? And yeah, just to get follow up, like, look, just call me back as soon as you know. No, 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 that's right. She didn't call him because, yeah, she called earlier. That's when Catherine was telling Jim everything, and then he rushed off to their house, which we will see in the next episode. But after that, Candace gets a call from Benny because Benny is giving his sister the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, it's like, look, I put my neck out for you again. Do you know about the Crier Company? No, I don't know what the Crier Company is. What's going on? They should have the money. So I guess at the beginning of the conversation, I think that Candace literally was thinking, well, the money should be there, the Crier Company. But then as Benny kept saying the Crier Company, and she let it click in her mind, oh, the Crier Company, let me call you back. That's when she got on the computer and saw the money. In the preview for next week, it looks like she's actually going to send the money back. But that begs the question, did she do it or not? I am willing to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that Candace did not have the money transferred back, because I don't, that's going to be its own video. But see, we're already over 10 minutes in and I'm talking about this dang money. To be honest, this was a good episode. I'm not saying that it wasn't, but I just wish this money thing was, dealt with already. I think this has gone on a bit too long, and let's just leave the money to rest. So let's talk about more of the episode. RK goes up to Scott's room, and this was a pretty funny scene. All right, so Scott pretty much whips out a little vial of drugs to pretty much test that the drink that RK gave him was supposed to knock him out. So after all that's said and done, Rocky and RK just trying to, oh yeah, well, the maid and the glasses, and yeah, it changed color like that. I mean, I thought he was going to say it would be like a mystery flavor of Kool-Aid, like when you pour the mix into the water. I don't believe mystery Kool-Aid mix was any color. It was supposed to be clear, and then you taste it and it was a mystery flavor. But to be completely honest, I haven't had Kool-Aid in a long time, which is, I guess good because of the sugar, but at the same time, it is a good summer drink. I might get some Kool-Aid jammers today, just for the heck of it. That's what I'll do. But yeah, so it's kind of a nice throwback, because if you remember that time that RK was planning to rob Jeffrey, he brought a drink up to the room, but then Justin came in, and then for one of the very, very rare moments in the series, I actually liked Justin because he was being a police officer, saying that if I take this bottle down to the forensics lab and test it, and there's any drugs, I'm bringing you in. And I'm just like, yo, that is a good investigative reportive scene right there. But we never really see anything like that again because Justin's a tool. So RK's denying it, but then Broderick's brought out, and just like when Catherine made Broderick bring Rocky up to the room because that's when she knew everything before their threesome, Rocky's trying to deny everything, but then Broderick's like, dude, it's easier if you just do what she says. Rocky is about to stand like a canary because once again Scott throws in to have them deported to London. I think that's where Rocky is originally from, and under arrest unless they spill the beans on Candace, but then RK isn't having any of it because he's not a snitch, which is I mean, street code is street code, but this is the FBI federal agents, this is on a whole new level than just going to jail. So basically the prostitution ring is forever gone at this point, allegedly. So RK books it out of there, and Scott, being a dick, I hate to use that phrase, but he literally is taking away the deal he made. I mean, then again, lawyers are known for being shady, but federal agents must be on a whole new level. It's like, look, the deal I made with you guys, it's null and void unless you get RK in line, because Rocky and Broderick are just, Broderick has to look flush for like the past 2 or 3 episodes. It's like 1 minute he thinks he's on top of the world, having Catherine Crier exactly where he wants her, but now it's like, man, I don't want to get deported. I don't want to go to jail. And then what is up with it? They just throw around the word terrorist on the show like it's, what was it? Candace Young, you're being arrested, and we've learned that based off your laptop, you had dealings in terrorist organizations. Wait, what? Terrorist acts. Then, of course, bombing lightly in the country of the United States. And then we have this situation where, yeah, you know what? If you don't comply, we'll have you deported, well, arrested, deported, and put on a terrorist watch list. Ha. Okay, so basically, Rocky and Broderick don't know what to do because somehow RK managed to escape. I mean, it's like 12 years a bartender. Sheesh. So might as well skip to the end of the episode here with RK, which is hilarious. He is looking pretty ragged by the time he gets over to Veronica's house because, you know, he was booking it. Remember, he doesn't have a car, so one could only imagine that he was running like a madman, which is kind of interesting because if the FBI were the ones who were about to have him arrested and then Veronica's under surveillance by the FBI, wouldn't the FBI, you know, have the back and front of the house on watch so RK couldn't sneak in, which is exactly what he did. Okay. So after coming from the jail, Veronica's at her house and, you know, that's when RK calls her out. She pretty much wants him gone from the house. Just wants him completely gone. There's nothing he can offer her. And when he says, "I'm loyal," I was immediately thinking, well, you robbed her jewelry. And that's when she says, "What about my jewelry?" And, you know, I ain't no snitch. I wasn't going to drop dime on Candace. Well, maybe you should or you'd be arrested. Then the FBI is knocking at the front door and then pretty much says he's upstairs. But then they're there for Veronica, which is interesting. So are the FBI, with the FBI there for Veronica, are they talking about the car bombing incident? Or are they questioning her about Candace Young? Because if you look at the FBI, well, actually, we didn't get to see all of it, but the surveillance footage of the lobby or the Artesian Hotel should have shown that Veronica and Candace have met up a couple of times and we're talking. So I wonder if it's in reference to that. Now, even though it was a good way to end the episode, it really doesn't have a lot of weight to it because we saw in the preview for next week that Veronica's clearly outside with David at the pool, just like she said earlier in the episode. So the funniest bit is the fact that, you know, RK is like, you know, man, this is awesome. I got this bitch to myself. I'm going to make some changes around here. Let's go see what's in this kitchen, which is kind of funny because one could imagine that if Alice was still working at the house as a maid, her and RK would have a good time, just chilling. But remember, I always suspected that RK may have been the one that convinced Alice to quit the job to begin with. So we do know that, you know, RK is probably going to get tossed around by David because we saw in the preview back in April that David's grabbing him by like the collar of his shirt and flinging him around. So maybe David comes back over to the house that night and, you know, Veronica comes back and that's what leads to the pool situation. But that is in next week's episode, so I'll talk about that in my trailer breakdown. I know this review is going to be a bit on the long side because there's a lot to talk about, which is good. So basically after this, yeah, because, you know, moving on from RK, we go back briefly to Catherine getting a phone call from Broderick. I believe that's when she's calling Broderick once again, but he picks up the phone and is very formal. And what's funny about it is the phone call's over, she calls back, and then the next receptionist is like, Broderick just left. So he just left. He was 2 through. So him and Rocky are trying to do whatever they can to figure out where RK is in order to, you know, get their deal straight. And I can definitely see why. Now, looking at the notes, I did jump around a lot, but I think a majority of this episode had to do with involving, you know, the money and Veronica and everything. But let's see here. Yeah, another funny part. A sweet moment between Charles and Candace. What was it? When he was like a teenager, he wanted to be a breakdancing champion. What was it, like 16, 18? I forgot the exact age. And Charles up there is busting some good moves. That was a nice scene. And what I like about this, it's very rare that the haves and the have-nots allows the characters to demonstrate some of their skills that they have in real life. Like in season 2, I forgot the episode title, but I know that Amanda, Jacqueline, is actually a ballerina / dancer in real life. And I think there was a moment where Jeffrey walked into the apartment, and this was at a time where I believe Jeffrey was staying with Amanda and Candace, and she was literally dancing. And I'm just like, wow, that's awesome that they can demonstrate their skills like that. And even going back to season 1, there was a brief scene where Wyatt was playing the piano and singing. And Jeffrey was like, wow, I haven't heard you, you know, sing like, or play like a church song in a while. And Aaron O'Connell does know how to play, you know, the piano in real life. And the list goes on. So I'm very glad that they demonstrate things like this. And heck, Hannah was singing in one episode in the heat of the night undercover at a nightclub. And then, she was singing a leak in this old building in season 1 along with Catherine. So once again, just the skills they demonstrate. Now all we need is John Snyder or Jim Cryer to be sliding on the hood of a vehicle like the Duke boys. And, then we'll be set. But yeah, that was a nice scene. Very, very lighthearted in the midst of a tense episode surrounding the money. But the fun is broken up when Oliver shows up and saw the dancing and lets Charles know that, hey, this is getting even worse. So he gets on the phone with Landon, chews him out, and you could just look at Oliver's face and tell you, Charles is not helping the situation. Like, literally, Landon is trained by Maggie Day, is one of the best there is at what he does. And that wasn't to quote Wolverine. So fire him, and what are you going to do? That's my biggest thing. So, and I've always wondered that, like in situations, movies and televisions, like where you have like the top person in a specific field working on your team, whether it be a villain or a hero or just a normal person. Yeah, you want to fire them because they aren't able to live up to your unrealistic expectations. So who are you going to get to replace them? That's my biggest question. And look, so we got confirmation that they're in Detroit, Michigan, because Candace tells Benny that over the phone, Detroit, Michigan, because I mentioned in my episode review last week that Charles was originally a senator. He was from Michigan or Wisconsin. I couldn't figure out which one. It's Michigan. And on top of that, last season, Charles asked Landon to get a house for him and his kids down in Savannah. So that didn't happen. Basically, there's the house in Michigan and Detroit, and then he's going to be moving to DC. So we got confirmation because Oliver was like, we'll get her a flight to Savannah. So we know that they are not in Savannah, Georgia. Just wanted to put that out there. And the thing about it is, Oliver's face, and in a couple episodes ago when Oliver was first introduced, Charles pretty much took what he said very seriously because he didn't chew him out the same way he did Landon. But in this situation, it's like, no, you do what you're told. Now, this is a weird comparison, but what was the movie? It was a year or so ago on Lifetime. It was like the latest Michael Jackson biopic. What was it? Finding Neverland? Yeah, because I wanted to say Leaving Neverland, but I'm like, no, that's the one I ain't watching at all. Finding Neverland. And it was the story of like the two, I guess you could say, security officers who were like the closest to Michael Jackson during his final days. Like, his career before the This Is It tour, basically when he wasn't recording or anything, he was just trying to, have peace with his kids and everything. But at the same time, you're racking up all this debt because you really aren't out there putting out new music. You aren't touring. Yeah, you own the catalog to the Beatles and whatnot, but you're not selling them. So you're pretty much raking up debt without bringing in any income. And basically, at some point, one of the guards gets frustrated because at this point, he's not being paid. Neither of them are. And, his car got repossessed. His, his girlfriend or baby mama threatened to leave him because he isn't making any money. And he gets frustrated with the other guards. Like, look, talk to him. Talk to Mike. Tell him go ahead. He listens to you. Tell him to get in the recording studio. Make something so we can get paid, because they have been going months without, so much as getting a thin cent. Now, the reason I'm making this comparison is because Oliver, again, is pretty much working for the big man. But the thing about it is, Charles is pretty much being self-destructive, hanging on to Candace. So if he doesn't distance himself from Candace, when all this news stories and whatnot get out, then that's just going to blow up in their faces. And that's probably going to cost him his job. So I can definitely see why he would say what he said. I mean, like, let me put it this way. If Charles would just flat out fire me for speaking my mind, then I might as well, because guess what? We're all going to just not only lose our jobs, but our reputations will be shot to hell, because you are allowing Candace to spread like a plague within your political community. So that's going to just ruin everything. So, I mean, hey, and it isn't that Oliver was being unprofessional. He was just suggesting it, and he's like, did I ask for it? And yeah, it's not going to end well, because we do know at some point Candace will get the boot. That is going to happen. So it's going to happen sooner than you think. All right, so moving on. Let me look at my notes here, because I think I just about covered almost everything there is, aside from David and Jeffrey and Veronica getting Justin arrested. Yeah, so basically, Veronica calls David saying, "I want to meet you tonight by the pool." And next thing you know, Justin gets taken in. Veronica taunts him, and before he gets in there, the group of guys that Veronica said to get arrested were in the jail. Basically, Justin will be in a cell by himself, and then he's talking with Ray, who was the name of the officer that Veronica was threatening to, take his job away last week. And believe it or not, Justin wants Jeffrey to be called, and that's my biggest fear. Like Jeffrey finding out that Veronica had Justin arrested, because then he'll probably do something stupid like try to save him. And then Justin gets roughed up because, to be completely honest, like heaven forbid I ever end up in jail for any reason, whether it's something I do stupid or I'm just accused or something, because that happens. I saw part of When They See Us. I couldn't make it through the whole thing. But I would just sit on that bench and not move a muscle, where no one can, reach for me or anything, because I think it was a bad move to walk close to the cell where the guys were sizing you up and then turn my back. And I think he had a hoodie on, so they grabbed him by that. And, based off the preview, some very non-friendly things are about to happen to him. Do I feel bad? Not really, because, Justin, there's no telling how many guys he has, excuse me, there's no telling how many guys he has, done that sort of thing to in the back of a police car or in the interrogation room. So no mercy. I have no compassion for him. But moving before that, I think the last scene I need to talk about is David and Jeffrey. I did talk about it briefly, the funny scene where David mentioned the haircut. But Jeffrey actually put in a good word for Madison. I actually like that. That was a very good on you, Jeffrey. Good on you. Madison was unprofessional, but he was actually trying to be helpful. So, yeah, that was a good move. So it looks like he might come back, and more foreshadowing, because David, excuse me, throat's getting dry. I need something to drink. Jeffrey reminded David that Madison said to change your bandages. Too bad he didn't say what Madison said about keeping them dry, because that's foreshadowing for next week when David's in the pool. Nice attention to detail. But before that, Jeffrey has his little bag packed up saying, "Don't worry, I'm not going back to him, but I'm not going to stay here as long with your mom." That is crappy reasoning, and even more so when we get to the point where David's like, "Look, I need her. Well, we need her due to legal issues." And at the same time, when Jeffrey mentioned the same reason about Justin, I'm like, oh, okay. Is he going to mention that the reason he's trying to quote unquote protect Justin is because of the fact that he helped Candace and Jeffrey during the whole Quincy Maxwell murder situation? No, Jeffrey's justification is, well, Justin lost everything because of her, basically referencing when Veronica showed that tape in court of Justin in Jeffrey's hotel room. So Jeffrey has very lousy reasoning, but I can't. Well, basically, hey, I'm going to stop seeing your mother once this is done. So I'm wondering, because remember, David and Jim have, pretty much sealed the deal that they'll kill Veronica after they finish using her for their own means, and then finding the lawyers who have those puzzle pieces on them, and then they'll kill her. So is David keeping it a secret from Jeffrey that he plans to kill Veronica? I think that's where they're going with that. So, yeah. Let's just hope that Justin doesn't get to call Jeffrey. That's the only thing I want, because something tells me that if he finds out that Veronica put Justin behind bars, then he's immediately going to renege. Wait, is that the correct phrase? Either way, he's going to pull back on his deal with David's like, look, you see, I told you, Dad. She just ruins everything. I can just see that happening. So, in any case, overall, I think that covers everything there is in the notes. Yeah. I'm going to give this episode 8.5. I was going to give it an 8, but Charles's breakdancing was good. There were some good jokes in here. 8.5 out of 10. I just hope the money thing gets resolved next week when Candace allegedly pushes the button. But don't tell me that she's about to push the button and then Secret Service comes in and takes her away. That would suck. Okay, well, in any case, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the episode in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And let's try to hit 85,000 subscribers before the end of the month. At this moment, OWN has not put the preview up on their YouTube channel. So I obviously won't be able to do my trailer breakdown until they do so. Hopefully it's up later today because it's nice weather outside. I'm about to go to the post office. I got a ton of things to mail off for eBay. And yeah, I might sit on the patio for a bit. So yeah, hope everyone has a wonderful hump day, and I'll talk to you soon. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you just saw, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, or if you have anything you would like to add to the video, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to keep up with me on social media, go to the description box. All of my links for social media are right there. Also, if you feel like you would like to donate to the channel, make sure to click on the link to PayPal. Any amount helps. $1, $5, $20. As a full-time YouTuber, any support from my fans really does mean a lot to me. Finally, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. That way you're kept up to date on any new content I post to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next video.